The amber light of the corner bistro cast warm shadows across empty tables, most of the dinner crowd having moved on to evening plans. At a table near the window, Michael Godden checked his watch for the third time in 10 minutes. His fingers drummed a nervous rhythm against the wooden surface. He wore a navy sweater that brought out his eyes, sleeves pushed up to his forearms, revealing hands that spoke of both boardroom handshakes and bedtime stories. At 34, he carried himself with the quiet confidence of a man who had learned to navigate both corporate presentations and playground politics with equal skill. His dark hair showed just a hint of silver at the temples, earned through 3 years of single parenthood and building his consulting firm from the ground up. Tonight felt different from the handful of dates he'd reluctantly agreed to over the past year. His sister had been persistent about this one, insisting that Patricia was different. She understood what it meant to put family first. Michael had almost canceled twice, but Emma herself had pushed him toward the door with her 7-year-old wisdom. "Daddy, you always tell me to be brave when I'm scared. Maybe you should try being brave too." The door chimed softly as Patricia Butler stepped inside, pausing to shake the October chill from her coat. She had the kind of understated beauty that revealed itself slowly. Brown hair pulled back in a simple twist, minimal makeup highlighting eyes that seemed to take in everything while revealing little. Her burgundy dress was elegant but not flashy, paired with practical flats that suggested someone who chose comfort over impression. As a pediatric social worker, she had learned to read rooms quickly, to identify the undercurrents that adults tried to hide from children. As they settled into their seats, an awkward silence stretched between them. Patricia studied the menu while stealing glances at Michael. She noted the way his eyes kept drifting toward his phone, not from rudeness, but from the ingrained habit of a parent who knew that emergencies could arrive without warning. "First time doing this in a while?" she asked gently, setting down her menu. Michael's laugh was rueful, tinged with embarrassment. "Is it that obvious? My sister arranged this. She thinks I need to get out more." "And what do you think?" Patricia's question was direct but kind. He considered this, really considered it, which she appreciated. "I think I'm terrified," he admitted finally. "Not of dating exactly, but of what it means. Emma lost her mother when she was 4. For 3 years, it's just been us. The idea of bringing someone else into that world, into her world." He trailed off, shaking his head. "I'm sorry, that's probably too much for a first conversation." "It's not," Patricia said quietly. "It's honest. And honesty is something I appreciate. I work with children who've experienced loss, trauma, big changes. I know how carefully you have to handle a child's trust, especially when they've already learned that people can disappear." Something in Michael's expression shifted, a subtle relaxing of the shoulders that suggested he had found someone who understood the landscape he navigated daily. They ordered dinner, and gradually the conversation began to flow more naturally. Patricia told him about her work, about the children who taught her daily lessons in resilience and hope. Michael shared stories about Emma, about the ways his daughter had forced him to become braver, kinder, more patient than he had ever imagined possible. They were sharing dessert when Michael's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and looked up apologetically. "I'm sorry, it's my babysitter. She never calls unless—" He answered quickly. "Hey, Anne, what's wrong? Is Emma okay?" Patricia watched his face cycle through concern, confusion, and then something that looked like barely contained panic. "She what? How long has she been asking?" No, don't put her on the phone. Anne, please just tell her I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, running a hand through his hair. "I have to go. Emma woke up from a nightmare and she's asking for me. She won't go back to sleep until I'm there. I'm so sorry, this isn't how I wanted the evening to end." "Don't apologize," Patricia said, already reaching for her purse. "That's exactly what a good father does." "But the check, the evening—" "Can wait," she finished firmly. "Your daughter needs you. That's more important than dessert." Michael looked at her with something approaching wonder. "I'll call you," he said, meaning it in a way that surprised them both. "I'd like that," Patricia replied, and meant it just as much. Michael let himself in quietly, hanging his coat on the hook by the door. Anne met him in the hallway, her usually calm demeanor showing cracks of exhaustion. "She's been awake for almost an hour," Anne whispered. "The nightmare was about losing someone important, but she wouldn't give me details. She just kept saying she needed to talk to you about something important, something about a story." Michael took the stairs two at a time. Emma's bedroom door was partially open, spilling soft light into the hallway. He knocked gently before entering. "Hey, sweetheart. Anne said you had a scary dream." Emma sat up in bed, her dark hair tangled from sleep, her eyes wide and serious. She wore her favorite pajamas, the ones with dancing bears. "Daddy," she said, relief flooding her voice. "I'm so glad you're home. I had the most important dream, and I need to tell you about it before I forget." Michael settled on the edge of her bed, automatically reaching out to smooth her hair. "Tell me about your dream, Em." Emma took a deep breath. "I dreamed about Mommy," she began, and Michael felt his chest tighten. "But it wasn't a sad dream, Daddy. It was a happy one. Mommy was sitting in her garden, you know, the one she always talked about having someday, with all the flowers and the butterflies." Michael nodded, remembering Sarah's elaborate plans for the garden they would plant when they finally bought a house with enough yard space. "Mommy looked so pretty and happy," Emma continued, "and she told me something really important. She said she sent someone special to find you, someone who would understand about love and taking care of people. She said I would know who it was because they would make you smile the way you used to smile when you talked about her." Michael's throat tightened. "That sounds like a beautiful dream, sweetheart. But what made it scary?" Emma's expression grew more serious. "It was scary because in the dream you almost missed meeting the special person. You were so worried about me, about leaving me, that you almost didn't see what Mommy had sent. And then I woke up and I realized you were on your date tonight. And what if the special person was there and you came home because of me and you missed them?" The pieces clicked together in Michael's mind with startling clarity. Emma's nightmare hadn't been about losing someone. It had been about him losing someone, about her being the reason he missed an opportunity for happiness. "Oh, Em," he whispered, pulling her into his arms. "You sweet, thoughtful girl. You don't ever have to worry about me missing anything important because I chose to come home to you. You are the most important thing in my world." Emma pulled back to look at him. "But Daddy, what if the special person was there tonight? What if Mommy really did send someone and they're waiting for you to figure it out?" Before Michael could answer, his phone buzzed with a text message. He glanced at it, expecting perhaps a follow-up from the babysitter. Instead, he found a message from Patricia. "I hope Emma is feeling better. No pressure, but if you ever want to talk about nightmares, dreams, or anything in between, I'm a good listener. Sometimes children see things more clearly than adults do. Sweet dreams to both of you." Michael stared at the message, reading it twice, then a third time. Emma, ever observant, noticed his stillness. "Is that her, Daddy? Is that the special person?" "I don't know, sweetheart," Michael said honestly, but there was something in his voice that made Emma smile. "But I think maybe we should find out together." "Together?" Emma's eyes lit up with excitement. Michael looked at his daughter, this remarkable little person who had somehow managed to inherit the best qualities of both her parents while developing a wisdom entirely her own. "I mean," he said slowly, "that maybe next time, if there is a next time, you could meet her too. Not on the date," he added quickly. "But maybe we could all have lunch together, somewhere fun. That way you could see if you think she might be the person from your dream." Emma considered this seriously. Would she want to meet me? Some grown-ups don't really like kids, especially kids who have lots of questions and strong opinions about things. "Sweetheart," Michael said, his voice filled with certainty, "any person who wouldn't want to meet you isn't someone I would want to spend time with anyway, and something tells me that Patricia is exactly the kind of person who appreciates smart, thoughtful children who aren't afraid to speak their minds." "Patricia," Emma repeated, testing the name. "That's a nice name. Does she have a nice voice too?" Michael found himself smiling as he remembered Patricia's laugh. "She has a very nice voice. Gentle but strong, like someone who knows how to tell the truth without making it hurt. Emma nodded solemnly. Mommy always said that the best people are the ones who can be honest and kind at the same time. Do you think Patricia is like that? I think she might be, Michael admitted, but we'll only know for sure if we get to know her better. Then we should definitely get to know her better, Emma declared. Because if Mommy really did send her, it would be rude not to at least say thank you. Michael laughed, the first genuine laugh he'd had all evening, and pulled Emma close again. You know what, Em, you're absolutely right. We should definitely say thank you. The weekend arrived with the crisp clarity of early autumn. Michael had spent most of Saturday morning listening to Emma plan their lunch with Patricia, her excitement growing with each detail. She had changed her outfit 3 times, finally settling on her favorite purple dress with the small flowers embroidered along the hem, paired with a silver bracelet that had belonged to her mother. I want to look nice, she had explained seriously, but not like I'm trying too hard. Patricia should see the real me, don't you think, Daddy? Patricia arrived exactly on time at the small cafe in the park where Michael and Emma often spent Sunday mornings. She wore jeans and a soft blue sweater that brought out her eyes, her hair loose around her shoulders. In her hands, she carried a small wrapped package and what appeared to be a children's book. Emma spotted her through the cafe window and immediately grabbed Michael's arm. Daddy, she's here, and she brought something. Emma stood up with the careful formality she reserved for important occasions, extending her hand. It's very nice to meet you, Patricia. Thank you for wanting to have lunch with us. Patricia shook Emma's hand with the same seriousness, instinctively matching the child's energy. It's wonderful to meet you too, Emma. Your father has told me so many amazing things about you that I've been looking forward to this all week. As they settled into their seats, Patricia focused her attention on Emma with genuine interest. Your dad mentioned that you love to read, Patricia said, and that you have some very strong opinions about which books are worth reading. I'd love to hear about your favorites. Emma launched into an enthusiastic discussion of her current literary preferences. Patricia listened with complete attention, asking thoughtful questions that revealed she was actually hearing what Emma was saying, not just waiting for her turn to speak. I brought you something, Patricia said eventually, sliding the wrap package across the table. But I should probably explain why before you open it. Emma's hands hovered over the package with barely contained excitement, but she waited politely. Your father told me about your dream, Patricia continued gently, about your mother sending someone special to find him. That made me think about a book I loved when I was about your age, about different kinds of families and how sometimes the people who belong together find each other in unexpected ways. She gestured toward the book. This is my copy from when I was little. It's pretty worn because I read it so many times, but I thought maybe you'd like to have it. And the other thing, she smiled nervously. Well, maybe you should open it and see. Emma carefully unwrapped the package, revealing a small snow globe containing a miniature garden scene. Tiny flowers bloomed around a small bench where 2 figures sat together, a woman and a child, while butterflies danced in the air around them. Emma gasped with delight. It's beautiful! Look, Daddy, it's like the garden from my dream. There's something else, Patricia said quietly. The woman who made this snow globe creates these for children who are dealing with loss, with big changes in their families. Each one is unique, made specifically for that child's story. I told her about your dream, about your mother's garden, and the special person she sent. She wanted you to have it as a reminder that love finds ways to continue, even when people have to go away. Emma turned the snow globe over in her hands, watching the artificial snow swirl around the tiny garden scene. When she looked up, her eyes were bright with unshed tears, but her smile was radiant. It's perfect, she whispered. It's exactly like what I saw in my dream, except... She paused, tilting her head. Except in my dream, there were 3 people in the garden. Mommy, me, and someone else, someone who made Daddy smile. The silence that followed was filled with meaning. Patricia's breath caught audibly, and Michael felt something shift in his chest. Maybe, Emma continued, matter-of-factly, the snow globe isn't finished yet. Maybe it's waiting for the right person to complete the picture. Michael looked at Patricia, seeing in her expression the same wonder and uncertainty he felt. "Emma," he said gently, "what are you saying?" Emma set the snow globe carefully on the table and looked directly at Patricia. "I'm saying that I think you might be the special person from my dream. Not because you brought me presents, though they're wonderful, but because you listened to my story and you understood what it meant. And because when you look at Daddy, he gets the same happy expression he used to get when he talked about Mommy." The honesty of this observation hit Michael like a physical force. Emma wasn't finished, though. "But mostly," she continued, "I think you're special because you didn't try to replace Mommy or pretend she didn't matter. You found a way to honor her memory while still being yourself. That's what someone really wise would do, and Mommy always said the best people are the wise ones who choose kindness." Patricia's composure finally cracked, tears spilling over as she reached across the table to cover Emma's small hand with her own. "Emma," she said, her voice thick with emotion, "that might be the most beautiful thing anyone has ever said to me." Emma smiled through her own tears, squeezing Patricia's hand. "So does this mean you want to be part of our family? Because I've been thinking about it, and I think Daddy needs more people to take care of him. He's really good at taking care of me, but sometimes I catch him looking lonely when he thinks I'm not paying attention." Michael felt his own eyes burning as he watched this extraordinary exchange. In Patricia's face, he saw not just attraction or affection, but a deep recognition of the gift Emma was offering. "I would be honored," Patricia said simply, "to be part of your family, if your daddy thinks that's a good idea too." Emma turned to Michael with expectant eyes. Michael looked at Patricia, really looked at her, seeing not just the woman who had understood his need to rush home to his daughter, but the person who had listened to a child's dream and found a way to honor it with thoughtfulness and grace. "I think," he said slowly, his voice steady despite the emotion threatening to overwhelm him, "that Mommy sent us exactly the right person at exactly the right time." Emma clapped her hands together with delight, then picked up the snow globe and held it out toward Patricia. "Would you like to make a wish with me? I read somewhere that wishes made on snow globes with people you love always come true." Patricia accepted the globe with reverent care, holding it between her hands as Emma placed her smaller hands over Patricia's. Michael watched as they closed their eyes together, two people who had just met but seemed to understand each other with an intuitive completeness that took his breath away. The months that followed moved with the gentle rhythm of seasons changing. Patricia became a fixture in their lives gradually, respecting the careful boundaries Emma unconsciously established while proving herself reliable in all the ways that mattered. She attended Emma's school play, helped with homework, learned to braid hair properly, and to make hot chocolate with exactly the right ratio of marshmallows to milk. But more importantly, she learned the subtle language of Emma's moods, recognizing when the child needed space to miss her mother and when she needed extra reassurance that the adults in her life weren't going anywhere. It was a Thursday evening in December when Emma announced her latest revelation. They were decorating the Christmas tree, the three of them working in comfortable concert. Patricia was patiently untangling lights while Michael assembled the new star Emma had insisted they needed this year. "I've been thinking," Emma said, carefully hanging an ornament she had made in school, "and I think it's time for me to start calling Patricia something different." Michael and Patricia both looked up from their respective tasks, recognizing the significance in Emma's tone. "What were you thinking, sweetheart?" Michael asked gently. Emma considered this seriously, stepping back to survey the ornament's placement. "Well, she's not my first mommy, because that's always going to be the mommy who's in heaven. But she's not just Patricia anymore either, because she takes care of us and loves us and does all the mommy things like making sure I eat vegetables and reading me stories and helping me when I'm scared." She paused, looking directly at Patricia. "So I think I want to call you Mama Patricia, if that's okay with you. That way everyone knows you're my second mommy, but also that you're special in your own way." Patricia's hands stilled on the tangled lights, the simple wisdom of the solution, acknowledging both Patricia's role and Sarah's irreplaceable place, was so perfectly Emma that Michael felt his own throat tighten. "Emma," Patricia said softly, "that would be the greatest honor of my life. Are you sure that's what you want?" Emma nodded decisively. "I'm sure. I dreamed about it last night, actually. Mommy was in the garden again and she was smiling really big. She said she was proud of me for figuring out how to love lots of people at the same time without forgetting anyone. And she said she thinks Mama Patricia is perfect for our family." "Well then," Patricia said, her voice thick with tears, "I guess that makes it official. I'm honored to be your Mama Patricia." Emma beamed and launched herself into Patricia's arms, hugging her with fierce affection. Over his daughter's head, Patricia caught Michael's eye, and he saw in her expression the same overwhelming gratitude he felt. That night, after Emma had fallen asleep, Michael and Patricia sat together on the couch, the Christmas tree lights casting warm shadows across the room. "I need to tell you something," Michael said. "When Sarah was dying, she made me promise that I would find love again, that I wouldn't let grief keep me from giving Emma a complete family. I thought that promise was impossible to keep, that what we had was too unique to recreate." He paused, searching for words. "But you didn't recreate what we had. You helped us create something entirely new, something that honors what came before while being completely its own thing. Emma has two mothers now, one who watches over her from heaven and one who braids her hair every morning." Patricia took his hand, intertwining their fingers with natural ease. "Michael, I need you to know that I never expected to love a child the way I love Emma. She's taught me that love isn't a finite resource that gets used up when you give it away. It's something that grows when you share it." Michael leaned closer, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I love you," he said simply. "I love who you are with my daughter, who you are with me, who you are when you think no one is watching." "I love you too," Patricia whispered. "I love the father you are, the man you are, the way you've created a home that feels safe enough for a little girl to dream about her mother sending gifts from heaven." They kissed then, soft and sure, surrounded by the warm glow of Christmas lights and the quiet contentment of a house where love had found room to grow in unexpected directions. Spring arrived with its usual promise of renewal. It was a Saturday morning in April when Emma announced she had important business to conduct at the Botanical Gardens. They found themselves following her purposeful march through carefully maintained paths toward a section they had never explored before. "Here," Emma announced, stopping in front of a circular garden bed filled with flowers in every color imaginable. "This is the place." She turned to face them. "Daddy, Mama Patricia, I need to tell you something important." They sat on a nearby bench, Emma standing in front of them like a small professor preparing to deliver a crucial lecture. "I've been thinking about families," she began, "and about how they're made and how they grow and how you know when they're complete." She paused. "And I think our family is almost complete, but not quite yet." Michael felt his heart rate increase, thinking about the ring currently burning a hole in his jacket pocket. "What do you think would make our family complete, sweetheart?" Patricia asked gently. Emma smiled, reaching into her small backpack to pull out a notebook. "I made a list," she announced, flipping to a page covered with her careful handwriting. "First, we need to make it official that Mama Patricia is staying forever, not just living with us, but really, truly, permanently part of our family." She looked directly at Michael. "Daddy, I know you've been thinking about asking Mama Patricia to marry you because you get that same happy, nervous expression you used to get when you were planning surprise parties for Mommy." Michael's mouth fell open slightly. Patricia laughed, a sound of pure delight. "And second," Emma continued, "I think we need to have a proper ceremony where we promise to take care of each other forever. Not just the grown-up promises, but promises that include me too. Because I want to promise to be the best daughter I can be to both my mommies and the best helper I can be to Daddy." She flipped to another page, revealing a detailed drawing of 3 figures standing together. "And third, I think we should plant something here in this garden, something that will grow and be beautiful for a long time, so that years from now we can come back and remember the day we became a real forever family." Michael reached into his jacket pocket, feeling the small velvet box. But looking at his daughter's earnest face, at Patricia's expression of wonder and love, He realized that Emma had already created the perfect moment. "Emma," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "you are absolutely right about all of those things." He stood up, taking Patricia's hand and helping her to her feet, then knelt down on one knee right there in the garden bed. "Patricia," he said, his voice steady, "will you marry me? Will you promise to be part of our family forever?" Patricia's hands flew to her mouth, tears spilling over as she nodded emphatically. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "Yes, of course, yes." Emma cheered and clapped her hands, then threw her arms around both of them as Michael slipped the ring onto Patricia's finger. "Now for the family promises," Emma declared, pulling back to consult her notebook. "I went online and found out that some families write their own vows that include everyone, not just the grown-ups getting married." Emma cleared her throat and began to read. "We promise to love each other no matter what, even when we're cranky or scared or sad. We promise to listen to each other and to tell the truth, even when it's hard. We promise to take care of each other when we're sick, and to celebrate together when good things happen, and to help each other be brave when we're afraid. And we promise to remember that love is big enough for everyone, including people who can't be with us anymore but who are still part of our hearts." Patricia was crying openly now. "Those are perfect promises, Emma," she said, her voice shaking. "I promise all of those things to both of you for as long as I live." "Me too," Michael said, reaching out to include Emma in their embrace. "I promise all of those things to both of my girls forever." Emma beamed with satisfaction, then reached into her backpack to pull out a small packet of flower seeds. "Now we plant something together, and every year on this day we come back to see how it's grown, just like our family." They spent the rest of the afternoon on their knees in the garden bed, creating a small patch of mixed wildflowers that would bloom in cycles throughout the growing season. Emma directed the placement of each seed, explaining that she had chosen varieties that would come back year after year, growing stronger and more beautiful with time. 6 months later, the garden they had planted together bloomed in a riot of color and life, providing the perfect backdrop for their wedding ceremony. Emma walked down the aisle first, carrying a bouquet of flowers they had grown themselves, her face radiant with joy. She had insisted on being called the family coordinator rather than flower girl. Patricia followed, beautiful in a simple white dress that Emma had helped choose. But the moment that would be remembered by everyone present was when they reached the altar, and Emma stepped forward to place her bouquet on a small table that held a single white rose and a framed photograph of Sarah. "Mommy," she said clearly, her voice carrying across the gathered crowd, "thank you for sending us Mama Patricia. Thank you for helping us become a family that's big enough for all kinds of love." The ceremony proceeded with the traditional vows, but the most powerful moment came when they invited Emma to join them for the family promises she had written months earlier. Standing together, hands joined, they spoke the words that made them officially and permanently a family, bound not just by law but by choice, by love, by the daily commitment to show up for each other no matter what challenges or joys the future might bring. As they exchanged rings and sealed their promises with kisses and tears and laughter, Emma threw flower petals into the air with the exuberant joy of someone who had helped create exactly the ending she had envisioned in her dreams. As the sun began to set, Emma pulled Michael and Patricia away from the party to show them something important. In the garden where they had planted their flowers, the wildflower patch had grown into something spectacular, a natural celebration of color and life that seemed to dance in the evening breeze. "Every year," she said seriously, "we're going to come here on this day and remember how we became a family, and every year the flowers will be a little different, a little bigger, a little more beautiful, just like us." Michael wrapped his arms around both his girls, feeling the completeness that had eluded him for so long finally settling into place. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the flowers sway in the gentle breeze. "I love you both so much," Patricia said softly. "I love you too," Emma replied immediately, "and I love that we're going to have adventures together forever and ever." Michael looked up at the first stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky, thinking about Sarah and the dreams that had guided them to this moment, about the mysterious ways that love finds room to grow when people are brave enough to open their hearts to possibility. "Thank you," he whispered to the evening air, knowing that somewhere, somehow, Sarah was smiling at the family they had become, proud of the daughter who had inherited her wisdom and courage, grateful for the woman who had chosen to love them all exactly as they were while helping them become everything they were meant to be. Years later, visitors to the botanical garden would sometimes notice the small family that returned every spring to tend a particular patch of wildflowers, the parents and child working together with obvious love and purpose, their laughter carrying across the garden like music. The flowers grew, more beautiful each year, a living testament to the truth Emma had understood from the very beginning, that love, when planted with care and tended with faithfulness, creates something magnificent that continues to bloom long after the original seeds have been forgotten. And in a house not far away, a snow globe sits on a windowsill, its tiny garden scene catching the morning light as butterflies dance eternally around figures that represent all the different ways a family can be built, all the different forms love can take, and all the beautiful possibilities that unfold when people are wise enough to listen to the dreams of children who understand that hearts are big enough to hold everyone who matters, both those who walk beside us and those who watch over us from heaven, smiling at the love that continues to grow in their honor.